you to A Father's Note, where we promote fatherhood through building men. As always, we're certainly glad that you took the time out of your busy schedule to come and spend the evening with us. It is certainly a pleasure. What we're going to be talking about tonight is the the struggles of men, and the challenges of fatherhood, or the challenges of fathers. Now, some of you may be asking, well, why are you having this conversation? Well, it's obvious. When we look at what has been taking place in our society today, I don't know about you, but my biggest concern and what really I struggle with the most is really seeing a lot of our young men destroy their lives before they even begin to live them, especially when they are 16, 17, 18 years old, and so forth, taking the lives of others. Uh, that really grieves my spirit. Even I um, just put myself in the place of a lot of those parents who have to live with that, who have to experience that. I don't know if I can handle it. I don't know if I can take it. I would even be asking myself, okay, where did I go wrong? As a father, did I leave my child in a very vulnerable place? Uh, uh, but yet, this is a conversation that I strongly believe that we need to have and we should have. So I really ask you that you would encourage you that, while you're here, contact others, let them know that we're on and that we're having this conversation. There may be uh, mothers out there that are struggling with this, have sons that they don't know what to do with them. There may be fathers who have gone to the end of their rope and pretty much have thrown up their hands and say, you know what, I can't do nothing with this child. But maybe hopefully that through this broadcast tonight, maybe we might be able to shed some light, give you some insight as far as to help you. But I think that first of all, first and foremost, uh, with what we have, and we were talking about the struggles of men and of fathers. Well, I could tell you now that a man who struggles being a man will definitely struggle being a father. It's not automatic that you can have your challenges in life as a man and you're not grounded in a lot of areas of yourself. And yet, still, when it comes to now, all of a sudden, you're a father. And most likely, especially if you're a father at the age of 20, 21, let's take a little bit younger, especially if you're a father at the age of 18, 19, 20, 21, 25. The dynamics of life changes, and there's no question about it. And you can find yourself that once you add another life and you have no structure for yourself, for your own life, and you're adding another life into that unstructured life, or you're going to have some chaos. You're going to have some conflict. There's no question about it. So it makes no sense in you even uh, um, uh, fooling yourself in regards to that, because it's definitely going to challenge you. But okay, but why am I having this conversation? Uh, 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 I'm going to tell you why. But I want to also just acknowledge, my wife is not with me tonight. I just said I want to just do this. I was going to do this solo tonight. Eventually, sometimes she'll be back on here soon. Okay, I guess probably when we get into talking about relationships or whatever again. But due to the fact that I want to talk with you all about this subject matter, uh, listen, where I'm at right now, what prompted me to ask this question or to have this conversation is that I'm kind of like, I guess, in the second or third stage of writing a book. The Lord has blessed me to finally complete my manuscript after 3 years. Yeah, it's been 3 years, but I always say that everything is always in God's time. And I was just reading back over some of the things that I had put in the book about my own experiences as a man, about my own experiences as a father. And I can tell you that a lot of, I can honestly say, maybe this might not apply to you, men out there, those of you who may be watching. This may not apply to you. But listen, I didn't have it together. I did not have it together. My life, when I became a father, my life was, as they used to say, tore up from the floor up. It was done. It was over even before it got started. And I was just going through the motions of being a man. I was just going through those ramifications and what we think that makes us a man. You know, I had that little chip on my shoulder too. You know, especially now that I'm of age, I'm 18 or plus, and you know, I'm my own man. I'm doing my own thing. You know, probably even still living home with mama, but yes, still and daddy. But I'm my own man now. But I had wrote this. I just want to share this a little bit of some of the content in which that I have wrote, and it kind of show you where I'm at. You know, so in the introduction, I have wrote this that the results of that. Let me see how where I want to start here. I struggled immensely to understand manhood, and that struggle made it difficult for me to establish a foundation for my life and a foundation for my family because of that struggle. The results of not really being complete, uh, or let's say established in some areas. Now, I know you're probably going to have some questions, which I'm more than happy to answer. You know, just let us know you're watching in the chat. So you can put your comments in there, or ask the question in the comment, or we'll open up the lines so that you can call in if you desire. Uh, Let me know if you hear me. Make sure we got some audio here, please. I want to make sure I have audio. If you do, let me know in the comments, please. Okay. Um, uh, yeah. Let me make sure I get. So please let somebody let me know if you have, because I've been having some audio issues with my podcast, and so I just want to make sure that we're good here. Anybody, just send a thumbs up or something if I'm good. Or okay, thank you. Appreciate your time. Thank you so much. Okay, so yeah, I was dysfunction. I was a dysfunction man. So let me continue the reading. As I said, and you know that struggle made it difficult for me to establish a foundation for my life and a foundation for my family. The results of it were four failed marriages and four broken families. Yep, I did. I went through that. My five beautiful children, you know, were the good things that came out of those marriages, of course. And having a weak foundation resulted in a misfunctioned life as a man because my foundation was not established. Okay, hopefully we could get into why my foundation wasn't established as I thought. I go on to say that I struggle financially more times than I care to experience, causing me to live paycheck to paycheck for most of my life. I was a homeless man and a single father with children at one period of my life. I went from having a place I called home to sleeping in a warehouse, and from there to sleeping in my car. Last but not least, for 30 years, I lived with an unforgiving spirit that produced a murdering spirit against my father, all because I was angry with him for abandoning me of his fatherly love. Now, of course, that's what I thought, you know. But go ahead, I'm going to drop down a little bit. It says, but over time during my life, I have learned how vitally important it is to get to know yourself. Yes, that's the first thing that I would encourage you young men, get to know yourself. It is essential to know and understand that when it comes to being a man, a husband, or a father, you are not the most intelligent man in the room, meaning you still got a lot to learn, even no matter where you're at in life or some stage in life. There's something that somebody can teach you or instill in you. Okay, it's essential to be open to obtain wisdom and knowledge from others when wisdom comes knocking on your door. Understanding who you are and your reason for existence has a purpose because you have to understand that you matter. And I think that's what happens with a lot of our young men when they start out as a young age. They really are struggling for identity. Now, I have a couple of videos that I want to show here. Hopefully that I won't get flagged by YouTube or IG or anybody for that. But I definitely want to show some stuff. Why we have what we have, even the breakdown in the family or whatever. So I'm going to play, first of all, I want to play a video from Mr. Monroe. And I want to go here because let me tell you something. Now, some of you may feel that I'm going to go and say it for lack of a better word, women bashing. Okay, but it's not that. But I want to show a highlight on something because even when I have this discussion with you tonight, I want you to understand and hear me clearly. I am not exempting the man from his responsibilities. I am not exempting the husband, the father, from their responsibilities. Okay, I got a question there. How true do men open up and share to each for perspective, strength, and knowledge? Does this contribute toward helping as a man? And this is absolutely true. Now, and to answer your question, Ms. White, it's because I'm a firm believer of learned behavior. You know, we as human beings, period. You know, we have a tendency to mimic what we see. We have a tendency to copy what we are exposed to. We do become a product of that environment. If you are raised up in a very peaceful home, then you as a man or even as a woman would have a peaceful nature about yourself, unless you're tapping into something that that was unwarranted to you, was unfavorable to you. But if you were raised up in a contentious home, guess what? You're gonna grow up being a contentious person. Everything, your issues, and when it comes to handling or resolving conflict, are going to be that where it's that you're going to use conflict in order to resolve conflict. So these are ramifications in which that we really need to address. And yes, because if a man is not taught, if a young man is not taught how to express himself, and you know, especially dealing with the narrative. I think we had this on one of my other conversation shows where it's that, you know, we want to. What we don't want is to be vulnerable. A man would do everything he can to not show his vulnerability, to protect his image, to protect, or shall I say, that what he thinks or consider himself that would make him a man or establish or reveal his manhood. But I think we have a lot of that wrong. Now, I got issues with emotional men, but yet still, though, I encourage men to be in contact with their emotional side. Without having an emotional side, then it would be very difficult for men to express any form of love, any form of affection, if he feels that has to be raised or he is being raised or reared up to be tough all the time. So then when a woman comes along, yes, he is with a woman, he has a girlfriend, but he struggled with love. He doesn't know how to love that woman affectionately because he was never taught to learn how to love affectionately. So yeah, men will struggle expressing themselves. Hold on, I got to take this off. I struggle with my headpiece here. Yeah. So let's look at some audio here, some videos here. So let's talk about. I'm going to play this one here, Mr. Miles Monroe. First of all, okay. Let's listen to this. Let's see where we at here.
The greatest crisis for men is the absence of fatherhood models. I don't think we can argue that anymore from our stories here today. We had men who had never seen their fathers, men whose father has been incarcerated, a man whose father in the home and never talked to them. And so there was a poor modeling of fathers. And a man cannot deliver what he never saw. And this is a difficulty. Sometimes women marry a man and expect him to be a good man, and even demand that he be a good man, whatever that means to her.
How many have done that? I mean to pull it out like that, but how many have done that? How many women have actually married a man with an expectation that he was going to be absolutely what you predicted or assumed that that man should be? Let's continue to listen.
Good, whatever good means. And this man is a product of an experience that makes it difficult for him to deliver what she's demanding. So she becomes angry and then begins to maybe verbally attack him. And he doesn't know what to do, because I think all of us would agree that when you go to a soda machine and you put in your money and you hit the button, you expect a soda. Am I right? Am I right? How many of you ever went to a soda machine, put your quarters in, pressed the button, nothing came out? You pressed it 3 times, nothing came out. You decided, well, maybe I made a mistake. So you put another set of quarters in and you hit it and nothing came out. Now what happens to you? You become angry at what? The machine. What do you do with the machine? Don't tell anybody, but you kick it. That's what happens to most men and women. When they get into a relationship, the woman puts in the quarters. She'll expect you to be a right man, a good man, and the guy doesn't deliver. She puts in another quarter, and a quarter could be giving him sex, feeding him, making the bed, clean the house, and the guy just ain't doing right. She keeps putting in the quarter, and then it gets to the point where she blows her top. And she does reactions. She may curse him, she may try to physically attack him, or she may frustrate him because she kicks him with words. And what does he do? He can't deliver. So he lashes out with anger.
That's it. Now, why did I play that? Because it's no doubt, I'm sure that many of you who are watching, you know that is exactly what happens. That is exactly what happens. Now, you may have, ladies, married a man. I'm still talking about the struggles of men, okay? Based on what you was exposed to, thinking that he's going to be listen, let me say this here. Thinking that he is going to be the same type of man that your mother married, if she married, or the same type of man that your mother dated for 50 years, or the same type of man that you might have saw your sister engage in, being in and out of relationships. But then you have this expectation, this dream, this fairy tale dream of what you may have seen on the Cosbys or seen on television or in some movie, and it's not true. But you're expecting this man to be what you want him to be for you, instead of allowing him to be what he can be to you and for you. But you want to make him, you want to mold him, then when he doesn't deliver, what you do, you kick it to the curb, you want to break it off. A big commotion just starts, just happen, without failing to realize, wait a minute, maybe there's some areas in this man's life that let me go on record and say, you can't change him now. You cannot change that man. You cannot make him, you cannot mold him into the man that you want him to be. So stop that lie. Stop believing that there's no such thing. You may be able to encourage him to go a certain way, but on the flip side of that, though, on the other side of that, he has to want that change for himself. Because now understand now, if you're dating a whoremonger, he will remain to be a whoremonger after you married and continuing until he has some intervention from God. I wish I had a mic drop right there. But we struggle. We struggle, first of all, ladies, finding ourselves. I know I did. And if I was to reflect back as I reflect back, and if I had to go back, I would tell you that there are a lot of things that I would have done differently. I'm grateful for, and my parents, my father, he was always there. But at the crucial time of when my father was around, my father was alive, and he was there because of what was in my heart. I felt to get everything that I could have gotten from my father. So what I ended up doing was ended up living or let me say this, I say it this way. I ended up raising myself when I didn't have to. Because I wanted to do things my way. But I was so dysfunctional. I was dysfunctional because at the time I just felt I was not getting my father's love. And ladies, it's sad if you think that you are hurting the man by keeping his child away from him. Even if you are separated, you've gone your own ways. You're not hurting the father as you may think. Or let me say it this way, you're not hurting the father more than you are hurting your child, your son. Because you may not see it. He may not show it now, whether or not he's 9, 10, 12, 13 years old. He may not be showing it. But I guarantee you, when he comes of age, that ramification of his father not being there, and I'm talking to you fathers as well, those of you who are tired of going through the nonsense of fighting with your child's mother just to have that relationship with him. No, we got to change that. That's a big, 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 big issue. Yes. So, y'all forgive me that noise there. But anyway, let me keep going on. I hope I'm saying something here that y'all getting from this here. But yeah, I had some issues, man. And what I did, what I saw, and I'm hoping I'm helping somebody here. And what I saw of myself, what I did to myself was that uh, a man, let me say it this, I say it this way. A man wasn't designed to raise himself. No, it was never intent for myself as a son when I was a son as a child to rear my own self up. Because I don't know enough about life in order to effectively do that correctly. So when you go about doing it, I'm talking to those sons who, you think you got it together. You out there running the streets, whether or not, whatever your means of obtaining money, even whether legal or illegal, you think you got it together. You got a couple of your buddies hanging out with you and whatever. Man, listen, you don't know what life is. You think you know what life. And anytime that you feel that you want to take on to live life yourself on your own, is it safe to say there's a possibility that you would end up with a very short life? Or a life that will always be dysfunctioned for the rest of your life, however long that be? So this is what we're dealing with. If you have any questions you want to know, just let me know, okay? Now, as I stated in my book, in one of the chapters, The Quest for Manhood, man, I had to really find out what manhood meant. And one thing that I realized that becoming a man among men can definitely be a tremendous challenge for all men, for all of us. And can I say this here? I think it's safe to say that every man out here wants to be the best version of himself if given the opportunity to do so. But we know that we have an absence of fathers in the homes. It's been that way for a very, very long time. Some of you may disagree with the statement that I'm about to make, but I'm going to make it again. I think the civil rights movement, partially, shall I say, listen to me what I'm saying now, partially or part of the civil rights movement contributed to a lot of our absent fathers in the home, simply because the story that was pitched by the government that we can take better care of you ladies and mothers and children. As long as the father's not there, we can take better care of you. Now you can go and search that for yourself. But when you look at it, the decline, I think it's if I stand to be corrected, the Robert Moynihan report. He shows that, listen, prior to the 60s, the majority, 80% of black families now, was raised up, had they were two-parent homes. Okay? We had a greater percentage of two-parent homes before the 60s than Caucasian people. But once the civil rights movement came along and we started I'm going to say it, wanted stuff for free. Free home, free stamps, free money for food. I'm going to need you to step out here, Mr. Jones, Mr. Nelson, Mr. Phillips, because this money comes to what the government giving me is way better than what right now is way better than what I'm receiving from you. I don't want to sound like I'm just rambling on, but I'm just being real. So now here we are. We have dysfunction homes that right now today, I believe the statistics is 80% of single homes is raised by women, are parented by women. So now let's keep in mind that we have sons and daughters that are being raised up in these homes. Yeah, they may know who their father is. They may know the name of their father, whether or not he's there or not. But guess what, though? One of the things that I learned is that it's not the same. It's different than a father being a father to his children in the home versus him being a father to his children outside of the home. But why does this happen? Why is, the thing what gets me, ladies, mothers, I'm talking to all of mothers now, you know this is an issue. You know this is an issue in your home. You know it is your child may be asking for their father. But just because he didn't meet your need, you choose that, well, I can do better taking care of you. I don't need your daddy. I could be your daddy and your mama. Stop lying. Please don't lie to yourself. How am I doing here? Let me know in the comments. If you got any comments, let me know. Yeah, the child is hurting behind that. Man, I wish I could really go in depth. But I want to save some. I want you all to purchase my book when it comes out. Because I talk about my life as a man. So y'all looking at me now, I didn't always have it like this. Man, I was a broken man. I was broken as dysfunction. But I got something to help some of y'all ladies. You're upset because you're still by yourself and you're saying that there are no good men out there. Yes, there are. They just ain't good enough for you. So you say. Okay? But yeah, let me play a clip here. I was about to say something. I lost my train of thought. Strategic map to cause separation of fathers out of the home. That's exactly what happened. This was strategic. And you know one thing about it? It didn't happen overnight. This was time. They been planted this here. Because they want control. They want control over our family. Look at what's happening now. Now that they have gotten control over the father, now let's go out. They done got control of a lot of you women. Got a lot of you women, mothers, and women thinking that, hey, you don't need a man. I'm not saying all of you now, but it got you thinking that you don't need a man. I know a lot, this ain't going to be favorable for some of you all. Y'all probably done already tuned out already, but the only way we're going to fix this is that we got to deal with the truth of the matter. We have to deal with the truth of the matter. Now, we have some mothers who have raised their sons, and they have done exceptionally well. I have one mother that comes to mind, and I'm very, very proud of them, of what they have achieved and how they have succeeded. But I'm willing to guarantee that there was still a positive role model in her son's life. There's no question about it. So, let's go here. Let me play another video here for you all. I don't want to play here.
I have only known this young man 24 hours, and there's no way in the world, just reading his space, that I know he's going to allow a man to abuse a woman in his presence.
She doesn't think about me that way. She doesn't.
Well,
that's crazy. Now you're going to find out this young man is married. And to have your mother sit there in your face and say that she don't think much of you, Iana goes, she gonna deal with it.
And you don't playing basketball and going on dates together.
So what? Mind your business. You say that you don't see the man that your son is. So I'm asking you, since this is not a demonstration of a man, you need to tell me what man you're using to measure him with. Which one?
My idea.
Which is your idea. Mm-hmm. Now, is that the idea you trained him up to be?
No.
Oh. So how in the blazing bejesus are you holding him accountable to a standard that you didn't teach him, his father didn't give him, he don't even know what it is, and yet as his mother, you sit in his face and tell him you don't respect him as a man? Tell me how that works. Help me.
Like I said, it was events. It wasn't just.
I'm talking about
and it's
one thing.
also how he treats me.
Yeah, but I'm
doesn't
talking.
respect me
Hello.
as a mom, and so-
You see, you are a provocative victim. You provoke stuff, and then when you start being held accountable for it, then you start twisting and turning and making the other person wrong. Look at me, Ma. Look at me. Look at me. You just sat here and told your son, who ain't got a needle in his arm, who I'm assuming pays his own rent. He's married to a registered nurse. He's got 3 baby boys. And you just sat here in his face and said, I don't respect him as a man. Mm-hmm. And you don't think to consider what that does to his heart, to his soul, to his spirit.
I'm sure that's hurtful.
And you okay with that?
And it's hurtful for the things that he says.
But there you go. You're doing it. You're doing it right now. You're doing it right now.
Because it's
I'm
like-
holding you accountable, and you spinning. You spinning your web.
I
You're
can't
trying to
say
get away.
nothing when it
You're
comes
trying
to
to get away.
justice.
Tell me. Just here's the question. Just answer it. We'll get back to that other
Okay,
stuff later. Tell me.
Forgive me. I respect him. He's a wonderful man.
You think she?
Do you understand that your mouth, your voice, your words are connected to the coils in his heart, to the valves in his heart? He can't help but love you. And every time you dishonor that love, you chip a piece of him, chip a piece of him. This is why in our culture as Black people, when the boys turn a certain age, the men come and get him and take him away from the mother because she can emotionally manipulate him. But since we don't live in our culture no more, we say what we want to say, do what we want to say. We tear our men down and then wonder why they don't make good husbands and fathers. Mothers destroy sons. His mother can speak to him in certain ways that destroy him in ways that can never be repaired.
That was powerful. And she told the truth. So here it is. We don't have fathers in the home. You don't want them in the home. But then here it is. We have mothers that are raising sons. But then yes, you're destroying them at the same time. That's some real serious stuff. You know your words. Your words, they can either build, or shall I say create. They can make change. But this is what we do to our sons. And we wonder why we have so many dysfunctioning sons, young men today. I know there's no way that I can cover each and everything in this 1 hour or so, what is going on, because we're talking about unpacking years of issues that has been established, piled on. But the general basis of things, where the mistake, the era where all of this has started, I mean, we can go all the way back to Genesis, and that's fine. But let's be realistic and let's look at this thing even for where we at right now. Let's really consider this thing. And what's in my heart to say is this: once we have gotten away from the principles in which that God has established, when we feel that we can do marriage without God, when we feel that we can have relationship without God, when we feel that we can rear up our children without God, when we have gotten to the place where we are so grown that we don't think that we need God anymore, this is where we have made the mistake. And this is where that we have the reason why we have so many dysfunctioning, not only families, but young men and old men, fathers, husbands, the same with daughters. Because we have gotten away from the guidelines and the principles and the structure in which that God had already given us. Every last one of us, I'm encouraging you. Listen, we need to get back to the word. Even if you have even if you have error, you made your mistakes in your family, with your child, or whatever it is, hey, repent. But get back into the word. Ask God to show you, hey, how can I fix this? Because we have a lot of hurting young men out here. And then they are going into relationships and wanting to connect with your daughter. And how you think that they're going to treat their daughter? Let me tell you what happened to me one time. I was working, oh God, I want to be very careful about where. I was working where it's that I was involved with going in and out of people's homes. And it was a county job at the time. And there was an issue that occurred between myself and one of the tenants, which was a woman. I would say probably mid-30s, maybe late 30s, mid to late 30s. And I saw where she got upset about something. And I saw where it's that she really wanted confrontation with me. But I'm like, I'm not going to entertain this lady. I'm not going to get into that with you, no shouting match with you. I'm not going to do that. So I kept my mouth closed. And my supervisor came along and tried to resolve it. But what caught my attention, I'm a black man just like you're a black man. As a matter of fact, I'm probably old enough to be your father. But I tell you, that young woman berated me from A to Z. I'm talking about ripped me from up and down, talked to me like I was some trash out on the street. I'm talking about with profanity. I'm talking about derogatory stuff. And I didn't say anything to her. But you know what? That wasn't what was shocking to me. What was shocking to me was that she had a 16-year-old daughter that was standing there watching that. And I said to myself, I'm like, here it is. You're carrying on like this with me. And you have a daughter there. This is the example that you're going to set for your daughter. How she should treat a man, how she should talk to a man, how she should disrespect a man. That really bothered me. That's what we're creating, though. I'm concerned. But it all starts in the home. Let's look at what Deuteronomy 6 says here. It says that the Lord your God told me to give you all these commandments, which you are to obey in the land you will soon be entering, where you will live. The purpose of these laws is to cause you, your sons and your grandsons, to reverence. See what it says here now. Your sons and your grandsons to reverence the Lord your God by obeying all of his instructions as long as you live. If you do, you will have long, prosperous years ahead of you in life. Okay? Therefore, O Israel, listen closely to each command and be careful to obey it, so that all will go well with you, and so that you would have many children. If you obey these commands, you will become a great nation in a glorious land flowing with milk and honey. In essence, there will be continual prosperity, even as the God of your fathers promised you. O Israel, listen, Jehovah is our God, so we got to put God back, man. If you're dealing with struggles, if you're struggling as a man, I'm not just saying you're talking about, I'm not just saying that you're talking about, yeah, I'm a Christian, I've been born again. No, I'm talking about you being in depth in God. God will help work you and guide you out of those struggles. Whatever it is, he can mend, he can heal, and he will do it. Well, you have to pursue God. Without God, yes, you will struggle. Without God, yes, fathers, we will encounter challenges. But this is the thing. It's not that we're not going to have any struggles. It's not that we're not going to have any challenges. I'm not saying that. But God will give you the instructions in how to navigate through those things. I'm still learning today about fatherhood. I'm still learning today about being a man. This did not happen overnight. But I wish, though, there was a lot of things that I wish that even when I was proclaiming to know God, that I was really into his word and pursuing his words where I can have a full understanding. Because there were a lot of things that I brought on myself simply because of not following the word of God. Simple. Let me continue. So, O Israel, listen, Jehovah is our God, Jehovah alone. You must love him with all your heart. It's just what I'm saying, and soul and might. You must think constantly about these commands I am giving you today. Now, this is where the fathers come in. You wonder why we have struggles, mothers. You wonder why we're having the challenges in which that we're having, fathers. It is because we're not doing this. You must teach them to your children and talk about them when you are at home or out for a walk, at bedtime, and the first thing in the morning. Tie them on your finger, wear them on your forehead, and write them on the doorsteps of your heart. And it must be a culture. It must be a standard in your home. In essence, you need to be teaching the word of God. Just think about it. If all of our family, if we just can go back in time and if we were to really anchor ourselves down and teach the word of God, we would not have to be threatened by our young men losing their lives or taking lives as they are, because the love of God would have been instilled in their hearts. Listen, it is wrong for us to think that Not having the role of our fathers in the home is not the reason that we have so much chaos that we have. That son, listen, he needs a man in order to teach him how to be a man. He needs a man to show him. He needs to have that experience. Going back to what I was saying, it's different fathering a child outside of a home than it is in home, because guess what? If he's in the home, if the father is in the home with his children, with his son, with his daughter, and he's seeing that father love on his mother, caring for his mother, being responsible, being that protector, being that provider, he has an image. He has, what's the word I'm looking for? He has a pattern in which that he can govern himself after. It's just that simple. We created this because we want to do things that we feel is necessary to please our heart. Oh, my wife says something here. She better be glad that I wasn't there, because no one is going to speak to my husband like that. I would have gotten it together in a nice way. I'm sure you would have, baby. I'm sure you would. Yes, it's our responsibility to teach our children about God. Absolutely. So if I had to sum it up, this is the whole reason why we have dysfunction with our young men. We have to go back to God. I don't feel that all is lost. I feel that there can be restoration for families. All we need to do is start with one family at a time. Be slow about, there's so much I can say here. There's so much I can say. But you know what? Even when it comes to relationship, put God first. Put God first. Let me play one other video here, and I'm gonna say this here. Yeah, I had my struggles, man. As I stated, I've been married more times than I should have been. I wish it wasn't that way. I wish that wasn't part of my life, but it was. But I corrected myself. Somebody asked me the other day, did I feel that I was a failure in marriage? And I told them no. No, I was not a failure. Why? Because my wife and I just last Friday celebrated 16 years of marriage. We were together. We have been together for 19 years. So I'm not a failure, not in marriage. And guess what? We're happy. We're very happy together. And in the process, I feel that we were successful in raising our blended family of 8 children. I think we did a pretty good job. And I believe my wife would agree. But God is important. God is important. So I think I just said all I need to say right now. Let me play one more video. Let me see if I can play this video here. We have to do whatever we can to keep the home together. I don't know why your reason for getting divorced or divorcing your children's father may be totally different than mine, or, it may, however you may have gotten there. I'm just encouraging you mothers, encourage your child's father to be there. Stop attacking him when he don't come through. Stop attacking him when he don't say the things that you feel he should say. Stop attacking him if he doesn't keep his word concerning that child. Yeah, it's tough. It is tough. I too struggled keeping my word with my oldest son. But one thing, though, that I can honestly say, that his mother never, ever, ever said a harsh word to me. about my struggles because she understood that I was not all there. Yeah, I got married. We got married. I think might have been 21, 22 years of age. What I knew then about manhood, what I knew then about being a husband, what did I know at that time about being a father? When I had been estranged from my father for the past 7, 8, 9 years, I knew nothing. I only knew an image of him, but I did not know him. Had no idea. I know he was a provider and protector and all that kind of stuff. I had that on lock. But the emotional side, no, man, I was damaged good. And I went into a marriage damaged good. But never did his mother say a harsh word to me. All she ever did was continue to encourage me to get it together, to do what's right. Never have I heard her say anything, or where that she would have rebuked me or say something negative. Never, she never done it. She forgave me. I'm grateful to God for that. But in the process, I changed. So I was about 12 years old at the time, but I changed. I changed. Then I began to be there, spend more time with him. What if she was constantly berating me? What if she was constantly attacking me with harsh words? I would have threw up my hands just like a lot of your children's fathers have done. Man, I got time for that. I don't want to be constantly being put down. Yeah, I know I got my struggles, but I'm going to do my best. Women, you are influencers. That's what you do. You are influencers. You have the power to influence a man. But why did you think that David said that he'd rather spend time on the housetop than be in the house with a nagging woman? A man doesn't want that. He doesn't need that. I'm trying to help somebody. He don't want that. No. So stop doing that. Yeah, is he going? Will he come short? Yes. But be understanding. Hey, take whatever he can give you at first, and then encourage him to do more. But I can tell you that if you leave it alone and let the relationship establish itself between him and that child, whatever it be, that child will get them together. That's if he want to. But some of you are mad and angry at yourself because you had a child from a man who didn't care. And the reason that he don't care about his child because his father didn't care about him. Learned behavior. The same thing with mothers. Let me play this one more video and we're going to get out of here.
When we talk, and I know that you've said that you cannot teach a man or tell a man how to be a man. So I will not ask you to indict men in this question. But I do want you to speak, Ayanla, to how women need to, position ourselves so that we can be in our divinity, so we can have our crowns right, how we can create and not build, when some of us, quite frankly, feel that the men that are available to us, and I'm talking about across the color spectrum, across the age spectrum, trust me, I've done them all, they are not positioned to protect nor provide because of some of the statistics we just talked about. They're not earning the incomes. They're not having the resources, and some of them are not even showing up in the leadership.
Would you date a bus driver? Would you date
if
a bus
he owns
driver?
the bus? If he owns
No.
it. If he owns the bus.
See, that's a problem. That's a problem. That's a problem. Okay. Because the standards and requisites, and I'm not talking about him laying on his sofa playing video games all day. I'm not talking about that. But the standards and the criteria that we use to measure men is off for who we are as women and who they are in this society. I would date a bus driver if he loved driving the bus, if he was a man of integrity, if he was good to his mama, if he treated me well. I would date a bus driver
But we think that it's another human being's responsibility to give us what we need instead of us building together. I can build with a bus driver. I'd have my little stash over on the side in my prenup, but I could build with a bus driver. So I think some of the criteria that we look for in the reality of today keeps us unhappy, keeps us angry, keeps us imbalance. And then when the men show up, we want to beat them up because they're not living up to our standards and criteria. And it's not working, beloved. It's just not working. So it's
There you have it. Is she telling the truth? Tell me what you think. Is she telling the truth? That you women, those of you, you didn't grow up with a father. You did not have a solid father image in your home. So now you do get with the man. You judging him and basing him off of your experiences instead of learning that man for who he is. So we already know where she's at. She said she wouldn't date a bus driver. Okay. That's your prerogative. But what do you really want? But yet still, I bet you're still lonely. You wish you had a man that you can cuddle up with other than cuddling up with your pillows at night. You wish you had a man that can protect you. Do he really love you? He can love you, but because and love you and be exactly what you want and what you need, be exactly what you want and what you need, but because he's not making as much money as you, he's not drawing a six-figure income like you, or his job is he's a garbage man or construction worker, and you're in the business, whatever, he's not good enough, he's below you. And then that's how some of you assess them as fathers. Assess your child's father. But then you're mad at him because now he done moved on with his life and he's dated someone else or done married someone else, started another life, doing well and doing good, and you still by yourself and upset and mad. One of these days I'm going to tell you, maybe my wife and I will talk about it. Because when I married my wife, when my wife and I married, I say this a little bit. I owned a 1984 white cargo van, that was it, that my children named the Ghost. And I was working construction, making maybe about 40 grand at the time a year. This is in 2004. Yep. I didn't even have a home at the time. I was renting a little shack, me and my 3 children I had at the time. So interesting, we rolled by the other day and I said, man, it's interesting that I used to stay there. I pointed at the house in the back. And that didn't matter to my wife. We fell in love with each other. Did I still have my issues? Yes. But it'll take her to tell you the story. But when we look at it today, as I stated, we've been successful. We put about, I don't know, maybe about 3 or 4 children, maybe 5 children through college. Now, I might need a little help with that. We've done well. None of our children never been to the jailhouse, never been to the hospital. Have we had issues? Yes. But look at me today. I came from nothing. All I had was a vision and a drive and a will to make something happen. My wife, being the woman that she is, not was, is, helped raise me up because she loved me for who I was. It didn't matter that she always made more money than me. It didn't matter. She didn't look down on the fact that I come in the house from working construction, I'm dirty and sweaty and everything else. And got on work boots. It didn't matter. It didn't matter that I wasn't riding around in some nice fancy Lexus or Rolls Royce, a Beamer, whatever you want to, whatever your favorite car is. It didn't matter. I had a van at the time. That's what I had. Right now, today, though, hey, when we got married, we was living in a 2-bedroom townhouse, renting, and I think we had how many children in the house at the time? I think, I don't know, 5, 6 children at the time. You may have to help me, sweetheart, because someone was in college. And right after we got married, I said to myself, I'm going to put my family in a house. We had 6 children in the house, 2-bedroom, so that's 8 people total. And 2-bedroom, 2-bath house. And you know what? I told my wife, that's what I'm going to do. And in a year's time, that's what I did. I put my family, I did it. She's on here, she'll tell you. I did it under my own strength. We bought a 4-bedroom, 2-bath house. And I was happy. I did it on my own because I was determined. But I didn't do it on my own. I had a good woman on my side. If a man has a vision, you all ladies, man, stop going. Who cares, man? Help him build the vision. That's your responsibility, as a matter of fact. That is your responsibility, to help build the vision that is within him. That's the gift that God has given him. How Miles Monroe say, the man brings home food, the woman multiplies it into a meal. The man provides a house, the woman turns it into a home. Because she believed in me, she supported me. She wasn't looking at what I didn't have, but she was looking at what we could have and create together. I'm in a position today I can have whatever car, vehicle I want if I wanted to. But I'm good. I like riding around in my my 2006 Magnum. Y'all can say whatever y'all want. Bills paid. See, I came from nothing, y'all. I came from nothing. But see, a good woman will prove that she's a good woman. Uh-oh. Sorry, y'all. She will prove that she's a good woman by the man that she marries. But he got to have a vision. If that joker don't have no vision, no drive, whatever, leave him where he at. Leave him home. Don't pick him up. Leave him home. He's no good for you. All right, I got to get off. The woman should know how to multiply, not subtract. Absolutely. Absolutely. So why do we have struggling men? Let me see if I can do and challenges and the challenges in which fathers make. Because I can say more. I can say more. My husband always says he can ride however as long as I'm okay. That's right. That's right. Now, you know what? I'm with you, Mr. Carville, because one of the things that I always did and what was important to me was to make sure that my wife always had a reliable car. Because I didn't want her stranded on the side of the road and all that kind of stuff. We almost got to that point one time. Oh, but hey, we made the moves we had to make. Now she rides around in her Lexus. You know, I don't care. As long as my wife happy, I'm good. I'm good. Yeah. So why do men struggle? A lot of times it could be, you know what? It could be how they're being reared up in the home. Okay. If he's raised up with conflict and issues, I'm talking about his teenage years. Okay, he's gonna have struggles in his when he gets into his adult life. There's one other thing I want to say too. Let me come back to that though. If you don't get support, now, first of all, let me say, don't marry the man, don't have children from him. Why are you being blind? You see that he be running around. You see. That's one of the biggest issues. Come on. Why would you connect yourself with someone who doesn't want anything out of life? And I think that's what my wife saw. She saw that I wanted more out of life. She became that good woman to me. She saw that. I didn't have a whole bunch of clothes, whatever. Now I got so many. Well, anyway, that's another story. I ain't gonna go on with that. Anyway, so the man, listen. So when we talk about rearing up, so ask questions about that man. If some of you may be too late, but we can work it out. But ask questions. One of the biggest things I think you should do when you're talking about connecting with a man, ask him, or shall I say, let me say it this way, check out his relationship with his mother. Okay? Especially if she's still alive. Because the relationship with his mother can say a lot about the type of man that he is or going to be. If he doesn't care anything about his mother, how do you think he's going to care about you? How? We got to go. We got to go. So, it says that. Ladies, mothers, stop bashing your son. Stop threatening him, telling him he's going to be like his daddy. His daddy is no good. Let's see. Yes, please ask questions and ask his real name or his government name and not just his street name. Mr. Johnson, I ain't seen you in a while, bro. Hey there, man. Hey there, we got to hook up again. Yes, sir. Yes, please ask questions and ask his real name or his government name and not just his street name. Yeah. Okay, we got y'all start coming in. There's one thing to be a mama's boy and a man who cares for their mother. Okay, so now we got two issues there. You're right. I don't like the word boy. So let me go here and say this real quick. I'm going to take these last few minutes. I'll just probably come back and talk about this later because I got to get out of here. I don't like the word boy. I did an extensive research on the word boy. And I think I'm going to say it's not a thing. I would say that we are doing our sons a disjustice when we refer to them as boy. The word boy in its original content, yeah, I do hate that word. The word boy in its original content is a 15th century word that was came from French. It's a French word. Initially, of course, the English has been changed to be spelled B-O-Y, but during the time when this word was generated, it was spelled B-O-I. And when that word boy was used at the time, back in the 15th century, it either has a meaning, it means either to a slave or a servant. So when they referred to a man as a boy, they was calling him a slave or they was calling him a servant. So here it is. Now let me help you. I'm gonna go because this is a I have it laid out in my book. Learning the Man Within. Chapter is titled "Don't Call Me Boy." We know that words have power. Everything that was created today was created by words, its original content. Okay? The Bible tells us that there is life and death in the power of the tongue. So when we use the word boy on your man child from birth, you are referring to him and you are labeling him as a servant or a slave. So the whole time, the first 18 years of his life, you've been calling him a servant or slave. So how you think he's going to behave? How you think that he is going to respond? If you search the entire Bible, there are over 7,000 words in the Bible. And if you research, you would only find the words boy or boys mentioned 3 times out of over 700,000 words. But when you look at the word man is mentioned over 33,000 times. Even Eve, when she was conceived with with Cain, she said, "The Lord has blessed me with a man child." So please understand, your son was born a man at birth. So it's okay to refer to him as a man because that's who he is. But he is a man who must mature into manhood. Stop calling him a boy, call him a man for he is. Because that's who he is. And him understanding his role that he's a man and that he is a king, guess what he would do? He would create those attributes and would behave himself likewise, that he is a man. But we call him a boy, 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 boy. Then when they get up into the adult age, we want them to be a man. But how do you expect them to be a man when all you have done the first 18 years of their life is label them as a boy? Let me say this. I have been guilty of that too, but not anymore. Even when I refer to my sons, I refer to them as men. I refer to them as kings. Or since they call me king, I call them my prince. But they still know that. My son hated that word since he was 2 years old and would say no and would say so without apology. Absolutely. So why do you think that an adult man, get offended when you refer to him as boy? I done got off subject probably here. I'm just trying to help somebody. He accepted being called young man. That's what he is. And I guarantee you would see a difference in their behavior. Okay, I gotta go. I hope I said something that you leave this podcast with something that you did not know or encouraged or highlighted. So, hey, ladies, again, I'm not here to bash. I'm not here to accuse, but you have contributed to the decline of manhood. You have in fatherhood. You have contributed. So I'm just encouraging you. Hey, change, please, change. I did have one more video, but I gotta go. I did have one more video I wanted to show you all. But I can't do it now. Let me see here. Yeah, I am going to play this one here. I'm going to play this one here. I'm going to play two more, then we're going to close.
I'm not gonna work my hands to the bones to provide. I'm not gonna work 16 to 20 hours a day or a week to provide for my family. You're the man. You have the penis. Go get a job. Get 3 jobs. My man has 2 jobs. Go get 7 jobs and 2 side hustles to buy me the things that I want because I'm a woman.
A lot of parents spend a lot more time fussing.
Hold on, I got to come back. But now, what do y'all think about the lady? What she said? What she said? That was wrong. And we got a lot of women that have that mindset, that think just like that. I apologize for that poor editing there. Okay, but let me play this. This is what we need to do because I want to play this, and then we out of here. Here we go. Here we go.
To buy me the things that I want because I'm
Securing a child, then
get 7 jobs and 2 side hustles to buy me the things that I want because I'm a woman.
a lot of parents spend a lot more time fussing at the child than they do reconciling with the child after the mess that they've made. And so I think that there's got to be a lot of time that goes into holding a child, loving a child, securing a child after they have done wrong, because that's what God does with us. Once we repent and it's over with, God is standing there with arms wide open. Now, we may not come to him, but he still has a way of coming to us. And parents need to make sure that they are moving towards a child after they have to bring correction and discipline, after they have to show punishment, but it's punishment in love. It's punishment that is not trying to break you down and tear you down, but it's punishment that says that's wrong and I need to rescue you from you. And it's a punishment that is, again, filled with the love of God, the embrace of God, the caresses of God, the cultivating of God's nature of relationship back into a person, instead of just letting them wander around the house, tore down, beat up, crying. And don't you cry another tear. God gave that child tears to cry. God doesn't tell you not to cry.
That was so key. Now, that's something I'm going to say because I think it still goes to the same thing as far as what's happening with our young men, why they're so hard, why they don't have a problem pulling the trigger, taking life, doing violent things, because they have never been loved. Think about it. They have never been loved. All they've grown up with is harshness. Father was there, and this is the key. Look, let me help y'all with this. I'm not talking about a son. I'm talking about a son being loved. We're not talking about him being loved by his mother. No. We're not talking about that love, that emotional love. He got enough for that. He doesn't, that's not what he needs. We're talking about him being loved by his father. And this is something that I wrote this in a book by Watch What You Say, for one of them, and then there was another one about wrong correction. He needs that. You know what? That's why I grew up angry and hard, because all I ever wanted, I'm not just talking about lip service when we're talking about being loved by a father. I'm talking about hey, hug me, man. Caress me. Love me. I don't mind the punishment, but love me. I don't mind the discipline, but love me. Hug me. Let me feel you. Let me feel you holding me. That's what our sons need. I'm not talking about that funny stuff. So y'all blank that, okay? No, and that's something I had to learn. So when I would bring correction, when I would bring discipline, first of all, you got to explain to them why. why you're bringing discipline. Why? Then you apply. You just can't be all beat, and you never show no love. You got him crying just like the pastor said. And then he shut up, boy. Yo, you want some more? Boy, dry them tears up. So if you're telling him to drop his tears, then what do you think he's going to do? So then when it's time for him to show some affection, he has no clue. What is that? How am I supposed to do that? Because now I'm afraid. Because I'm afraid to show any emotions, because if I do, guess what's going to happen? I'm going to be punished for it. We got to fix this. Children hated the sermon before the spanking. Yeah, I got to explain to them why. Ask questions. I even get okay, you got a choice. How should we handle this? Because there's the consequences. What consequences do you want? You want this strap? Now, I don't believe in corporal punishment now. I just said that. The only time I really apply corporal punishment is when my children fought amongst themselves. That's when they really had to get. That's before I started knowing better now. So it took me a couple of children before I got to that point. Yeah, but I find, though, you can discipline through love. Discipline through love. No? Okay. All right. We in the car. Hey, listen. I hope y'all got something out of this tonight. I might sound like I just been rambling on. But I have a passion for our men. I have a passion for just to change the culture of what we have. We gotta reach them. We have to. So, hey, everybody, thank you all so much. Well, we got a comment here. If love from the Father is not shown to the Son, he can grow up with a level of resentment and bitterness toward the Father. That's what I did. That's what happened to me. It happened to me. That's what I did. And you know what? I would encourage you, fathers, to listen to your sons. Listen to what they're saying. A lot of times they're telling you exactly what they need and they want from you. And you can't just be stuck that, no, this is me, this is how I do things, this is the way I am. No, you got to be willing. As a father, you have to be willing to adjust. It doesn't stop you from being their father. It doesn't mean that you are soft. Yes, you have guidelines. You stay on those guidelines. You stick with those guidelines. You keep those principles, just like the scripture in Deuteronomy said, hey, every child that enters my home, whether or not they're our children or not, they know the guidelines and the standards that has been established and set in our home. They know the do's and the don'ts. I don't even have to say anything because our children done schooled everybody on it. It ain't going to be no other way. But I love on my children as much as I can. I hug my sons. Yes, I hug them. I'm always telling them, I love you. I'm here for you, son. I'm proud of you. I mean, hey, you make me happy, son. I mean, hey, I want you to be encouraged. They need that affirmation from you, Dad. They need that affirmation from you mothers. Don't always belittling them, berating them. Don't do that. Because that's what calls us to have young men who would do what we see our young men doing right now today. And it's sad. I hate it when my grandmother did that. Just beat me. Nah, let's talk about it a little bit, son. I'm telling you, they grow up with hardness. But anyway, I thank God for my wife. She taught me how to love. She taught me how to be affectionate. I still got a little rough areas, but she's patient with me. Yeah. Hey, y'all, we gotta go. We gotta go, man. I love y'all so much, and I do miss you all. But we got to get out of here. So we'll be back next week. I don't know what, but we're gonna be back next week, okay? So I'm only doing this Facebook thing for a little bit while, okay? Because I know we have been off, and I want to really I'm doing this for the fan, of course. I'm doing it for you, my viewers, and everybody. It's because I love you all and I appreciate you all. Hey, if you enjoy the podcast, share it with someone. And if you have not subscribed to our YouTube channel, we ask you that you would do so. Share the content, leave a comment, as well as hit that like button for us, okay? So we can drive the algorithms. We're happy. We're happy. We're almost to that point of 1,000 subscribers. I know some get it right away, but you know what? I'm not really. I can use the subscribers, but you know what? If I can change one life, that's why we do what we do. If I can change one life, you know what? Let me say this, then I'm done. I know I keep lying, but forgive me. All right. It's interesting. Remember, I came from nothing. I want to say this because this might help somebody. You and the relationship that you're in with your husband, your significant other, which should be a man if you're a woman and a woman if you're a man. Listen, I'm doing what I'm doing today because my wife, I'm not taking nothing from God because God is first in everything, but my wife supports me 100% in the things and in the visions in which that I do here for us, our home. I support my wife in everything as well. But I got an email the other day, and it was so encouraging to me that from behind where I'm sitting, behind this mic here, that I have reached over 80,000 viewers on this channel on a Father's Note. 80,000 viewers in Australia and across this world. I am elated because I would have never thought that I would have that type of reach from this platform. Because when I started doing it, I was just doing it out of obedience to God. And I wasn't going to let no devil out there have a bigger voice than my voice for God. I just wasn't going to do it. But my wife has supported me tremendously on this platform. She was behind the scenes. She came on the scene now. She kind of eased back behind the scene, but I'm sure she'll be back when But I want to just give kudos to my wife. I want to thank my wife for 16 years of happy ever after marriage and love. Y'all know I don't post all that stuff on Facebook and social media or whatever. I leave that up to y'all. Hey, I'm just happy that I'm married and love my wife. We did get away for a little while last week, but yeah. So hey, kudos to you, my beautiful queen. Love you so much. All right, I just want to say that to you. Okay. But support your man. You can change it around. I hope I'm helping somebody. He's not going to be perfect. He's not going to even be a perfect dad. But he can strive to be perfect if you support him. Encourage him. Speak to him. Speak to that man that's in his heart. Speak to it. Speak to his heart. Do that. Speak to his heart. Don't speak to the outward structure because guess what? That outward structure is just a reflection of what all he has been through. But there's a good man down on the inside. There's a good man. So love on him and help him. All right. We got to go. Hey, y'all. Good night. See you next week.